Concacaf Futsal Championship in Managua, Nicaragua. It's the Dominican Republic taking on the United States of America. Look at the group table after our first game of the day. Guatemala defeating Trinidad and Tobago by 5-3. They're at the top of the table for now, but a United States win by multiple goals would see the U.S. get back to the top of Group C, with of course still a big match day 3 to come. Dominican Republic could get the inside track at one of those third place places that would advance to the knockout stages as well if they can get a result against the United States. Trinidad and Tobago and Guatemala, Trinidad and Tobago and the Dominican Republic are the two teams at the moment vying for that number 3 spot. But if the Dominican Republic could pull off a bit of an upset here in the second game of the day, then they could potentially be on course to stay in the fight for the top 2, which would be automatic progression to the knockout stages. So this one has a lot riding on it. There's no question about that. The U.S. were strong in their 7-4 opening win over Trinidad and Tobago. It was a 7-5 defeat for the DR against Guatemala, who have now turned 1 win into 2. We'll see how the DR does in this second game. They've had good history in this tournament in recent editions, ranked 13th by CONCACAF coming in. The U.S. ranked 4th. They are 2-time winners of the Concacaf Futsal Championship, most recently back in 2004, 2 decades ago. But the U.S. know, of course, that even if they can't win this one, just getting to the semifinals is a big prize for all of these countries, because that means they would go to the Futsal World Cup. So there's a lot riding on this, not just a CONCACAF title, but a chance to go to the even bigger stage of a Futsal World Cup appearance. Something the U.S. is very used to, it must be said, but something that the Dominican Republic has yet to do in their futsal history, despite some good recent runs at it and some near misses over the last few editions. We will step aside for now. We'll get to the anthems, we'll meet the lineups and the teams, and we'll get to the kickoff between the Dominican Republic and the United States. Just before here, the teams walk out onto the surface.
Para escuchar las notas del himno nacional de República Dominicana.
great rendition of both countries' national anthem. Sean St. Jacques, our entire crew, rejoining you here moments away from getting this Group C encounter started at the 2024 Concacaf Futsal Championship, with not just first place in the group at stake, but of course the battle rages on for the top 2 spots in the group. And of course that third place position is still very much up for grabs as well. The Dominican Republic starting lineup looks like this. Fernando Ballesteros' group. He's led by David Rodon, who is the captain. Christian Gardelli, Hector Perez, Grancy Moscoso are the outfield players, in front of Jose Perez, who is in goal. The United States are in their blue kits from head to toe. The DR are in their all whites with the black numerals on the back. The United States captain is their goalkeeper, Diego Moretti, who will lead them out in just a moment. U.S. were strong on match day 1. And we will see if they're able to back that up with another impressive performance here today. Jorge Antonio Flores of El Salvador is head official. Guyana, Costa Rica, and Panama also represented amongst our officials for our second game of the day in Group C. Gets this started, and who will kick off from which side of the surface? Puritan Moriera is the head coach for the U.S. men's national team in futsal. And we get a chance to look at his lineup. Diego Moretti leads them as the captain in goal. Luciano Gonzalez, Diego Barato, Frank Teo, and Nicolas Lopez in the starting lineup. But of course, some notables off the bench as well. David Ortiz has been off to a bright start. He has multiple goals already for the U.S. And Luis Morales, also a notable, who could certainly be an impact player off the bench. David Ortiz and Nicolas Lopez lead the U.S. with 2 goals apiece so far. We'll see if they can keep the momentum going into match day 2. It's the Dominican Republic who get us started in the first half of this CONCACAF Futsal Championship. A win for the U.S. would put them at the top of the table if they win by multiple goals. Anything less than that, they could still get into first place, but Guatemala could potentially have the inside track if it is just a 1-goal victory. For the DR, any result would put them into third place in a positive way. 1 or 3 points puts them ahead of Trinidad and Tobago and puts them in very good position, potentially, to get one of those 2 third-place places. That would be good enough as well for progression to the knockout stages. It's just the Dominican Republic's second appearance in the CONCACAF Futsal Championship. Their first was rather memorable back in 2021. They got to the quarterfinal round. They were a step away from a semifinal and a place in a Futsal World Cup. They didn't quite get there. They also played Guatemala in that iteration of the CONCACAF Futsal Championship. They lost 4-2. They lost 7-5 to Guatemala last time out. The U.S. had no such trouble. They beat Trinidad and Tobago 7-4. 2 goals from Ortiz, 2 from Lopez were more than enough. And they are hoping, after they came so close to winning the CONCACAF Futsal Championship last time around, they were the runners-up. They're hoping in their 7th appearance to lift the trophy again. And they're off to a bright start here. A sidewinding shot goes wide by the aforementioned Nicolas Lopez. Diego Moretti, Alencar Ventura Jr., Rafael Araujo and Luciano Gonzalez, all returning from that 2021 team that finished runners-up. Robert Damron and David Ortiz have experience from the 2021 Futsal World Cup to bring to the table as well. Remember, the U.S., by getting through to those semifinals last time around, made it to the Futsal World Cup. They've made it there 6 times in their history, hoping to make it lucky number 7 once again. And again, we mentioned this earlier, the U.S. have 2 titles, 97 and 2004 are the 2 times the U.S. have won the Concacaf Futsal title. And we've had some high-scoring games as we expected in this group, of course, but our first game, only 8 goals in it. Still filled with plenty of excitement and drama, but it was Guatemala who took the points, putting Trinidad and Tobago in a tough spot going into match day 3. They're going to have to win that game against the Dominican Republic, especially if the DR get a result here. It would put the Soca Warriors firmly behind the 8 ball and give the DR an inside track, giving themselves a chance of progression. Opportunity there for Lopez, blocked away. Nice back heel, I tell you. Loop for Gonzalez, and Luciano Gonzalez didn't have much room to get a shot away on Jose Perez's goal. Perez's outlet is to Rondon, and Rondon's shot is blocked by Moretti. His first time being called into action. It's a decent strike. I'm not sure if it was going on target, but Moretti wasn't around to be able to do it. And no, the ball's gone in on the restart. David Rondon not to be denied a second time. Moretti thwarted him once. This time he's caught out. And the Dominican Republic, from a restart, have the lead. Rondon catches the U.S. out. He looked one way, he went the other. And Moretti beaten with the angle in his favor. Remarkable. And the Dominican Republic have a brilliant start. It's a captain's goal for the DR, and they have the lead. And they might be able to try to pounce for another, but it's Teyu who's able to sweep that away. Well, the U.S. in need of an early response. Lopez. Oh, the shot is just off target, it looks like. May have hit the post or a defender. Tough to tell from that angle off the shot. All we know is that somehow the U.S. didn't score there. Shot came in from Manuel Andrade. Gonzalez for Lopez. U.S. reset with Andrade. Barato. And Gonzalez closed down. Well, early confidence soaring here for the Dominican Republic. Near side Andrade. Fights off a challenge. Andrade again. U.S. has been very methodical so far. It hasn't been working. Perez for the Dominican Republic. It's going to be a second. It's 2-0. Jose Belliard off the bench. It's a dream start for the DR. Inside of 5 minutes, they lead 2-0. Belliard blocked by Lopez, but Moretti had already committed. The goal was gaping. And just like we saw in the first game of the day, the underdogs have a 2-0 lead in the first half. And the U.S. need to talk it over. Now, Hewerton Moriera's group has come out and maybe been a little bit too methodical. They've allowed the DR to really get after them. And they've been punished not once, but twice. The first was a David Rondon restart that Diego Moretti didn't get the U.S. properly ready for, and they were caught napping. That led to the first goal. Here is that finish. U.S. were at 6s and 7s at the back, caught out, and then, oh, it's a tidy finish on the follow-up by Belliard, who was able to get past Lopez, and Moretti flew past him, trying to stop the first effort. And quickly, the U.S. have to go back to the drawing board before 5 minutes have been played. Well, Hewerton Moriera talking it over with his staff. Again, it's so early, but this would put the Dominican Republic in contention for the top 2 spots. Long way to go. That's how important a win could be for the DR. Well, Guatemala faced a very similar situation in our first game. Oh, and the U.S. nearly putting a shot on frame there. A turning effort by Sebastian Mendez. Goes wide of the target. Ball is headed out by David Ortiz, who's come on to try and help change the U.S. fortunes. Oh, and from the restart, it's another vicious effort. It took a ricochet. Ended up being blocked by Eric Macias. And then it's won back by Ortiz. Can the U.S. break? A wonderful ball played ahead, and the U.S. are back in it. That didn't take very long at all. It's Sebastian Mendez. And as quickly as the U.S. went behind by 2, they've cut the deficit in half in the blink of an eye. The DR caught out in transition. Marvelous finish by Mendez. And it's 2-1. The U.S. wanted to get that restart going as quick as possible. 3 goals in just over 5 minutes. And again, the DR trying to catch the U.S. out. Blocked by Macias again. Ortiz. Was Ortiz fouled there? Yes, he was. We bring it back for a free kick. Challenge came in from the goal scorer, Belliard. Well, we're at a breakneck pace at the start of this Group C tie. Well, you could see Andrade appreciating the effort. He was a bit preoccupied, couldn't get on the end of it. Ball is hurled ahead by Perez into traffic. It's going to stay with the U.S. U.S. tied for the most goals through one match day in the tournament. So it didn't feel like it was going to take them that long to get on the board. It only took them a few seconds of game action. Oh, and this is going to be brought back. Set piece opportunity for the DR off the David Ortiz challenge. Oh, and I think it's the follow-up on Rondon there that's been caught. I think Ortiz felt that he won the ball cleanly. He may very well have, but it's his follow-through that lets him down. And again, Rondon and company looking to go back to their bag of tricks. They've been very clever so far, the DR, with set pieces. And Rondon, well, didn't have many options, didn't quite come off the way the DR wanted, and he just boots it to get a reset. U.S. do well there. They close it down. Araujo lost out. Rondon on the other end. Did he force a save out of Moretti? It looks like he has. Off the reset. Well, the U.S. do well this time to sweep it away. Macias with some help from Mendez, the goal scorer. Ortiz. I think he was looking for Araujo, maybe Mendez. Found neither of them. Ricardo Alvarez leads a few changes for the DR. Cleverly done there between Barado and Ortiz. It's Barado! And it wasn't far away. Perez was interested, but it's wide of the target. Looked a little closer on the initial look. Either way, Barado can't quite force a save at the other end. Rondon again. U.S. have been able to start shutting the door on a lot of those set-piece opportunities. Oh, there's a couple players tangled up just outside of the goal. Things have tightened up a bit defensively after the U.S. got it back to 2-1 after a really fast start from the Dominican Republic. Gardelli on the turn. Runs out of room. Luciano Gonzalez. Well, the U.S. give it away. This is Gardelli. And again, Gardelli is shepherded out. Nicely done by Eric Macias. And the U.S. make a few changes. Lopez and Teyu back on for the U.S. Here's Lopez. Oh, we tried a little trick there, but the DR snuff it out. Fernando Ballester and his group happy with the way that was defended, and rightly so. Ooh, that was a brief chance for the DR. It still might be an opportunity. It was Juan Rondon. Now Macias. Can the U.S. get this back to parity? Oh, it's a great turn, and it almost goes through. Teyu, brilliant skill initially. He's a bit unlucky not to hit the target. DR do enough defensively. Frank Teyu did so well there. It's a volley chance off the set piece. U.S. will recycle. Gonzalez. The defensive duties from the Dominican Republic have been met so far. That one time where they were caught out in transition, they were punished, but when they've kept it at this end and absorbed the pressure, it's paid off, although this time they're caught out. But the Dominican Republic are bailed out by the referee's whistle. Not sure where Jose Perez was going. The DR, but he left the goal unattended. U.S. still missed the chance, but it's a moot point because of the whistle. Oh, it's very similar to, well, futsal in general, but especially in our first game. It's a blink and you'll miss it kind of match. And this game is certainly turning into that so far. Lopez. D'Andrade. Was he brought down unfairly there? There was some appeals from the United States. It's just going to be a reset. All the way back to Moretti. Ooh, Gonzalez lost it. And there's a foul called as Rondon was in one-on-one. And I'll tell you what, it actually looks to be the right decision. But the Dominican Republic saw the chance to really stamp their authority on the half. Rondon was one-on-one, but he had committed a foul. Lopez. Gonzalez. Play is a bit quicker now from the U.S. Tempo has been raised. Teyu. Nicolas Lopez blocked. The DR could leak numbers here in transition. Moretti comes off his line. Oh, it's a goal line clearance from Lopez, who saves the U.S. Incredible. The DR had the U.S. dead to rights in transition. Marco Gomez has his pocket picked off the line. Incredible effort by Lopez to get back and save the Stars and Stripes in transition. Moretti did all he could. He was beaten all ends up. It was a 2-on-1. Nicolas Lopez, who's been shining in his scoring ability so far in this tournament, comes up with the defensive stop. And then Moretti makes the save on the other end. It'll stay with the DR. Well, in a in a day in a group that's been filled with goals. That might be the defensive stop of the group stage so far. And the DR, in the end of all that, when the dust settles, they lose possession. Huge missed opportunity. How can the U.S. make them pay at the other end? Andrade. A couple of step overs here. Trying to find the angle for a shot. It is blocked away. The DR are very vibrant in transition. And it's another missed opportunity. Guillermo Lopez pushes it wide. But again, the DR at times are lightning quick in transition. Marco Gomez got it started, and the U.S. were nearly caught out again. Oh, that was poked through. It never looked like it was going to trouble the goalkeeper off the boot of Nilton de Andrade. Ooh, that ball goes out of play just before Guillermo Lopez could control it. Ooh, and that pass is just out of reach for Manuel Andrade. DR bench loving that. It's a missed opportunity for the U.S. Look at this. Jose Perez off of his line. Went nearly the length of the field surface. Able to get back. He's come off his line a couple of times now, Perez. Has been able to live to tell about it. The DR defensively gaining confidence from their teammates on the bench. Just under 8 minutes left in the half. DR holding on to a 2-1 advantage. Oh, and a miscued touch by Andrade gives it back to the DR. Again, Perez really being involved in the play, but he's a bit wasteful with his ball up ahead. Not afraid at all to get involved in the play. Can be risky to do that, of course. The U.S. have almost caught them out twice in similar scenarios. Here's Teyu. Tough angle. Saved by Perez. Perez's outlet is really well placed. Gomez across! And Guillermo Lopez spurns another big chance for the Dominican Republic. He played it to the one spot where Moretti had it covered. If he had pulled that across, I don't think Moretti gets to that. You can see what he was trying to do, tried to play it where Moretti was coming from. That was the one spot he still had the angle covered. Oh, and the U.S. have a chance here, and it's saved by Perez off the line, off the turn by Teyu. Lopez up the other end. Chance for a third, and it's spurned by Moscoso. And he blasts it out of play. Oh, Grancy Moscoso, that was his first real involvement. Nearly doubled the lead again for the DR. D'Andrade. Lovely ball through. It's Manuel Andrade, who again can't keep the possession initially. It is going to stay with the United States. Oh, it's blasted into traffic. Rondon for the DR. Scored the opening goal. Oh, and the DR score another! Javier Pepen somehow, from an almost impossible angle, gives the Dominican Republic a 3-1 lead. It's a jaw-dropping finish. How on earth did he squeeze it past Moretti? Pepen pulls a rabbit out of his hat, and it's 3-1 to the Dominican Republic. A magical finish. And the U.S. have to come back from 2 again. They're going to get a free kick here. Shirt was being pulled by Marcelo Sestero. Marcelo Sestero gives away the set piece. Barado, as the U.S. have to climb back again from 2 down. Barado into traffic. It spilled out in front. That was a brief opportunity for Rafael Araujo. Gardelli at the other end. He's able to get a corner for the DR. We're just breathing confidence right now. Gardelli didn't have much space, but it does come off a U.S. defender in Araujo. It'll stay at this end. So it came out in front. Was there a follow-through there? Yes, free kick for the U.S. Hector Perez back on. To be fair, the U.S. could be in even worse shape, I should say, because of some missed Dominican Republic chances. Here's Gardelli. Good recovery again by Nicolas Lopez. Needed to be good because the DR could have been in for a fourth. Remember, the DR ranked 13th by Concacaf. They're the lowest ranked team in this group. They're leading the second highest ranked team in the group and the 4th highest ranked in the competition. Gardelli. Lost out, not once but twice. Araujo comes the other way for the United States. Oh, there's a player down for the U.S. behind the play. Diego Barato. He's slow to get up. Another look. Oh, there was a collision actually between Gardelli and Barato away from the play. It'll just be a United States reset. Can the U.S. climb back into it before we get to halftime? Gonzalez, he loses out. And then Gomez couldn't do anything with it in transition on this occasion. Gardelli. Moretti commits! And the ball is looped over. Now Gardelli a bit slow to get up. There's a little dink over the top by Hector Perez. Maybe could have done a little bit more with that. Teyu keeps it alive for the U.S. Barado. Gonzalez up ahead. It's a chance for Lopez, then it was hit by Gonzalez. Teyu. Lopez. Gonzalez! Saved by Perez. Great save by Jose Perez. It needed to be. He meets the challenge. Good strike on the ground by Gonzalez as well. From the restart. Barado across, blocked away. Teyu was waiting for it. He's on it now. Oh, it's a giveaway. A real chance for Gomez, blocked by Moretti. Gomez gets it back. Another golden chance for the DR. They might get another one here, and Moretti stops it. As Christian Gardelli nearly extended the lead. Off the shoulder of Moretti. U.S. brings Eric Macias back on. Now Macias comes back on. There's just under 3 minutes left in the half. A half that has seen the Dominican Republic outplay the U.S. It hasn't not been a fluke. The U.S. at times just haven't really got going in the attack. Every time the DR get the ball going in transition, they've looked dangerous, and they frankly could have had a few more. And it's a good save there by Perez. Some appeals from the U.S. off a ricochet. Teyu on the turn, nothing's been given. Lovely layoff! And a missed chance from Belliard, who's already scored already in the half. There's Teyu at the other end. Was there a hand in there? Ooh, maybe on the second one. Referee didn't spot it. So tough to tell. Second ball, by the way, is rolled onto the field of play, spotted by the referee on the far side. Just over 2 minutes left in the half. Can the U.S. begin a comeback attempt? Teyu, their goal scorer for the U.S. Mendez, Macias. Teyu, out wide by Mendez. Gonzalez has come the closest for the U.S. Looping it for Mendez. It's Teyu, it was just behind him. Didn't have a chance to really let it fly, and it goes back to the United States. Macias. 1:20 left before halftime. Teyu, a back heel cut out. Here comes the DR the other way. Alvarez, bodies flying everywhere. It stays with the Dominican Republic. Oh, Mendez is checking, I think, on his thigh, as the teams will have one last chance to have a brief chit-chat before the end of the half. This was the lovely finish by Sebastian Mendez that gave the U.S. life, but it was topped, frankly, by a wonderful response up the other end. Javier Pepin has given the DR a 3-1 lead that they're trying to take into the halftime break. We're potentially about to see both favorites in the group go down by 2 goals at the half in our games today. Of course, Guatemala were able to come from behind from 2-0 down to win it 5-3 in our first game against Trinidad and Tobago. The U.S. may have to find a similar response. There's still a minute and change left in the first period. Rondon from the restart. They put it right into a dangerous area. The DR will try again. Oh, Rondon gives the ball away. Chance here for the U.S. This is Mendez. Under a minute left in this first period. Andrade on the turn. 2 challenges come in. U.S. recycle. Gonzalez. U.S. have 40 seconds. Macias. Gonzalez. Andrade has it blocked. It'll stay with the U.S. with just under 20 seconds left in the period. Can the U.S. nick a goal back? 3-2 would be a lot better than 3-1. I think that's fair to say. And they nearly did. There was a foul away from the play. I think it's going to be retaken from this near side corner. Gonzalez tries again. Oh, he nearly found Andrade. Couldn't quite get his feet right. Now then, Mendez, final 10 seconds of the half. Gonzalez, it's gone in! Somehow, Luciano Gonzalez squeezes it in for the U.S. And with 5 seconds left in the period, it's 3-2. Oh, it went through 2 defenders, a set of legs, and it squeaks past Perez. Huge moment for Luciano Gonzalez. And for the U.S., they do get that 1 goal back. In the final 5 seconds of the period, we'll see the ball sent away and out of play. Half of a second left. Moretti sends it ahead, and that's halftime here in Nicaragua. Well, a really impressive half overall for the Dominican Republic. However, the U.S. grabs some late first half momentum thanks to Luciano Gonzalez's goal with just 5 seconds left in the half. The second half promises to be extremely enticing. Halftime here in Managua, it's the Dominican Republic 3, the United States 2. Sean St. Jacques back here with you, moments away from the start of the second period here. The Dominican Republic leading the U.S. 3-2 in this Group C encounter, Concacaf Futsal Championship 2024. It'll be the U.S. that get the second half started, going from left to right. Really intriguing first half. There's no question about that. The DR at one point had a 3-1 lead on the U.S., but a late first half goal with 5 seconds left by Luciano Gonzalez. It's given the U.S. some real momentum at the start of the second period. In the live table, Guatemala would stay top of the group. The U.S. and the Dominican Republic would be in second. Trinidad and Tobago in last. Oh, and that was a mistimed challenge by Nicolas Lopez. Oh, it's really good skill as well. Close control from Gardelli. Top notch. And Nicolas Lopez might be a bit fortunate that he's not been shown a yellow card here. Gardelli equally perplexed. Looks like it's just going to be a free kick. Diego Moretti setting up his team defensively. Ball's going to be struck. Moretti comes off his line to save off the Perez attempt. Perez then gives the ball away. Gonzalez for the U.S. Nicolas Lopez. Gonzalez. Teyu. Barado just tried to fit it back in for Luciano Gonzalez. Jose Perez lofts it over the top. And in the end, the header was won nicely by Barato for a Moretti reset. Gonzalez. Teyu! Good save by Perez. Gardelli up the other end. Oh, it's a 2-on-1, and Rondon tried to pass it back to Gardelli when he had a 1-on-1 with Moretti. Maybe too much passing from the DR in the end. They had the U.S. wide open again in transition. It's been a place where the U.S. have really struggled at times today. The DR have been lightning quick, not just with their pace, but with their passing. And it's right off a big U.S. chance at the other end. Perez didn't waste any time getting it ahead. And in the meantime, it looks like Robert Damrod is going to have to come on for the U.S. between the sticks, while Diego Moretti, I think, is having his boot changed on the near side. Andrade loses out. Rondon almost lost out to Andrade, who ends up coming out with it for the U.S. Gonzalez. U.S. scored 7 against Trinidad and Tobago. Just 2 to this point. Gonzalez. Barato. Gonzalez, first time ball, and it doesn't find anybody. It'll be an opportunity for the DR to find some service here. Rondon Takes it quickly. Hector Perez. Closed down and lost it. Andrade did get a piece. It'll stay with the Dominican Republic as Moretti re-enters for the U.S. in goal. Perez with a loop over the top. Lopez gets back to his feet. U.S. try to play through. They're not able to do so. Again, Hector Perez. And in the end, I'm not sure where he was trying to go with that. It goes out of play. Did really well initially. Hector Perez had space down this near side. Actually had a teammate to pick out, but the ball was well behind him. And the U.S. are not exactly grasping onto the late first half momentum at the start of the second period here. Lopez. Back for Andrade. Gonzalez up ahead, tried to find Lopez. Rondon couldn't quite clear it. Andrade holds it up. Oh, and it's poked over the top by Jose Perez. Well, another look. The shot was a bit deceiving as it came flying in from David Ortiz. Ortiz then loops it. The DR get it out of trouble. Gonzalez got the late goal at the end of the first period. It's important because the U.S. just have to come back from a 1-goal deficit to start the half. Much different than 2. Gonzalez, first time ball by Ortiz. It hits Dominican Republic defender in the face. I think it's Guillermo Lopez who just needs a moment here for the DR. Oh, another look. Not a lot of time for Lopez to react. Hopefully he is okay. Like he'll try to continue for now. And Gonzalez sends it wide. Again, these are just the first 2 games of the day. There's still 4 more to follow. Haiti and Mexico, Suriname and Costa Rica. A lot of people have circled Canada against Panama as well. And then the hosts, Nicaragua against Cuba to round out the day's action. We've had 2 really good ones at the start. 5-3 Guatemala in our first game, and the U.S. trying to come back here against the Dominican Republic. Oh, Perez! Oh, it's off the post and the rebound is in! Tapped home by Guillermo Lopez after Jose Perez put it into a dangerous area. The goalkeeper helps out for the DR. And Moretti, well, he could do nothing about it. Off the post and right into Lopez's path. It's 4-2 to the DR. And we could have a bit of a stunner on our hands here. For a third time, the U.S. are down by 2 goals. 2-0 down, 3-1 down, 4-2 down. And each time the U.S. have clawed their way back to within 1, they've been sent back down to 2. And they have 14 minutes to try to get back to the top of the table. Just the Dominican Republic's second appearance in the Futsal Championship in Concacaf. They could be on their way to their most memorable result. One back by Gonzalez. Oh, and Gonzalez, in the end, just lets it go out of play. Didn't try to save it. Some frustration for the U.S. here. Frank Teyu was expecting him to maybe get back onto that. Again, Jose Perez is out of his goal for the DR. Worked a treat just a few moments ago. And the DR had a chance there to maybe even add on a 5th. Dominican Republic are 1 goal away from matching their output from match day 1. Still a lot of time left for the U.S., but 2 goals, the way the DR have been playing, is a tall task. And was there a foul there on Teyu for the follow-through? Another look here. They completely missed the ball. It's whether there was enough contact on Marcel Cestero. Play is just going to continue. Tough to tell on the replay if there was any contact, or at least enough, and where exactly it was. Jose Perez. The goalkeeper tries to find a teammate again. This time it goes out. Oh, off the post from Ortiz. That might be the best passage we've seen from the U.S. in the half. Daimar Blanco is now on for the Dominican Republic in goal. As the DR look for another here. They'll settle for a corner. Well done by Juan Rondon. Play is stopped for a moment with just over 12 minutes left. Kewerton Moriera, the conversation continues on the U.S. bench. Javier Pepin is back on. Rondon. Teyu is able to defend it for the U.S. It's going to be a U.S. restart. Oh, and the reason there was a stoppage is because looks like Jose Belliard was booked for the DR, the goal scorer. Now then, Mendez dispossessed. It's a chance for the DR. Moretti makes a big save off the attempt by Gomez. Well, the U.S. are playing with fire here. Was that a foul? Yes, it's brought down. It's going to be a stoppage just in front of the DR bench. And a yellow card has been brandished. Well, David Ortiz He's the one who's slow to get up at the end of the sequence. Another look. Oh, it's Rondon. It just goes right through the back of Ortiz. Well, Ortiz had nowhere to go, and Rondon is booked for the challenge. One that he really didn't need to make. Ortiz was in no man's land, didn't really have many options. It's a bit of a bailout, especially on a playing surface like this where so many angles are open for attack. This is an opportunity for the U.S. It's Sebastian Mendez. Plays in Macias. Mendez. Gets it back! Shot is blocked. Great layup by Teu. One back here by D'Andrade. Oh! And Sebastian Mendez couldn't get his feet right. Well, he's saying that the ball was played in a little too hotly for him. Too much on it. But he couldn't control. Oh, and then a ball played back across by Pepin. That could have been another DR moment. Still a lot of time left for the U.S. to try and salvage it. And they'll get a restart opportunity from the far side. Chance to come up with a set play. Oh, it's cheaply given away there. And can the DR punish them at the other end? Not quite. D'Andrade does well to win it back and tries to play in Araujo. Handball appeals from the U.S. The DR come the other way. Moretti out of play. Now then, Gardelli plays it across. Moretti, huge save. And Araujo couldn't keep it from going out for another set piece. That did hit off of Rondon's arm. But on we go. Approaching the midway point of the second period. Hector Perez. And Gardelli was swarmed. It's going to go back to the U.S. Mendez, who scored the first U.S. goal. Araujo. D'Andrade blocked. And Pepin able to get out of trouble for the DR. Gardelli. Oh, it's beautifully worked. The DR are in, and they score! Marcel Sestero makes it 5 for the DR. And the shock could be very well and truly on here. Oh, it's a cheeky finish from Sestero. Just dinking it over the top. Off the shoulder of D'Andrade, and the DR have their largest lead of the match. And the U.S. are in a heap of trouble. The DR have now scored as many as they scored against Guatemala. The difference is they've held the U.S. in check remarkably. The U.S. still has not scored in the half, and they have 9.5 minutes to save themselves at least a point. But the DR continue to look menacing. Could be a sixth. Gardelli stopped by Moretti. U.S. need to find an inspirational moment. Need to find something here. to change the tide. Parado sees it go off of Rondon. And that is going to bring us to a stoppage with 9:02 left. Well, it is gut check time for the United States. Dominican Republic, again, we talked about this earlier. They were 2-0 up early on. U.S. quickly got it back to 2-1. Then they were 3-1 up. U.S. got a late first half goal to get it back to 3-2. But now the Dominican Republic have extended their lead. It's 5-2 with just over 9 minutes left. And the U.S. have to try to dig themselves out of a deep, deep hole. That's a lovely finish from a few moments ago. Sestero giving the Dominican Republic a commanding lead here. And the U.S. have to try to find a way to make up the difference. Oh, it does look like there's been a kit change for Luciano Gonzalez. I'm not sure what happened to his normal kit, but he's switched to the U.S. red. Well, it's different enough, so he'll be allowed to continue. Mendez. Can the U.S. find some late life here in Nicaragua? It's a result that would take the DR into second place. Oh, it's going to go in! The reason that Gonzalez was on was because he was the extra player and the U.S. had taken Moretti off, and the DR take full advantage. Hector Perez goes almost the length of the playing surface, and the U.S. are immediately punished. 6-2 to the DR. And the U.S. playing with an extra outfield player immediately comes back to bite them. My goodness. Mendez has his shot blocked. Now the U.S. have a 4-goal deficit. Gonzalez. Teyu also blocked. I guess I just didn't expect the U.S. to take out Moretti this early, but 8 minutes left and time is of the essence. This kind of a deficit, but it's also been extended since they made the change. Gonzalez. Teyu. Mendez. And then again, Mendez misses. Blocked and then couldn't hit the target. Well, I must say the one positive for the U.S. is Moretti now has come back on. Man, I wonder if Huerton Moriera, well, he's going to bring back Luciano Gonzalez. It's a bit of offense for defense at the moment. Anytime Moretti can come on, they're going to quickly swap him. It's an aggressive strategy, but it's already bit the U.S. once. Certainly has pinned the DR back. And again, the other positive is that there's a lot of time left, and Mendez hits the post. And the DR almost score again, but the ball goes out of play. One post hit at one end, and then yes, this does go out, but another post was hit at the other end. It's all out attack now. Can the U.S. find a way back? Mendez. Barato. Teyu. Oh, it's Teyu! He scores! Frank Teyu gives the U.S. some late life. It's 6-3. Is that the jolt that gets the U.S. back into this match? Now they've been waiting for Frank Teyu to find the net. He finally does so. 6-3, 6:50 left. Now the strategy giveth and the strategy taketh away for the U.S. They concede after taking Moretti off. They quickly get the goal back by keeping him off, I should say, and trusting in Frank Teyu. U.S. still have a lot of time left, but they need 3 more just to salvage a draw here. And both teams, again, will get a brief stoppage to talk things over. This is a big moment in particular for the DR to not get rattled after conceding. Can this be the start of some momentum building for the United States? Now the DR have now put Hector Perez in a goalkeeping shirt. They've been very aggressive at times with that. There's a little nudge there. Free kick for the U.S. Moretti's on for now. We'll wait to see when, well, it's going to happen right now. Diego Gonzalez, beg your pardon, Luciano Gonzalez back on. U.S. go to all-out attack again. Oh, and the goalkeeper commits! Oh, and the pass in behind for Lopez was too far in front. That could have been a huge moment. If Nicolas Lopez was a bit quicker. Oh, Mendez scores! The U.S. were very quick on the restart there. Second goal for Sebastian Mendez. It's 6-4. 2 goals in next to no time. And all of a sudden, the U.S. are back in it. .6:20 to go. U.S. are finding some late life here in Nicaragua. Moretti off again. In comes Gonzalez. Can the DR fend off these attacks? Oh, Gonzalez slips, but gets it back! And it's off the side of the frame. So close, I should say, by Lopez. Mendez, who's on a hat trick. Oh, it's going to be rolled all the way back. Barato has to be very careful. He just about deals with it. Mendez up ahead. Lopez. Luciano Gonzalez lays it off. Barato. Araujo, 5.5 left. Gonzalez closed down. Now, one more, and this could get very interesting. Lopez blocked. Mendez, Gonzalez, Araujo blocked. Araujo again. Lopez, did he keep it in play? The answer is no. Back to the DR with just over 5 left. It's going to be a frantic race to the finish. Araujo. U.S. getting it back right away. Mendez. Will the U.S. take Moretti off? Yes, they have. Gonzalez is back in. Barado. Barado again. Blocked. Flicked on. It's Araujo! Blocked again. Handball shouts from multiple U.S. players. What's the decision here? Is it a U.S. restart or more? Looks like it hits off the bicep of Marco Gomez. I think that's the right call to let that one slide. Gonzalez gets it back from Barato. Barato again. Araujo keeps it alive. Barato again. Mendez! Brilliant! A hat trick for Sebastian Mendez. And the U.S. have clawed it back. It's 6-5. What a finish. U.S. were 6-2 down. It's 6-5 and there's still 4:16 left. Now it gets interesting. Can the DR answer right back? Back heel is wide. Oh. Juan Rondon maybe had time to take a touch. But he didn't realize it. He just went for the spectacular, and he lets the U.S. off the hook. 3 for Sebastian Mendez. And the U.S.'s strategy is starting to pay dividends. They started it at 5-2. They went 6-2 down immediately. Well, now it's 6-5. Barado. Gonzalez. Mendez! Good save. Needed to be by Blanco. And on the outlet, oh, miscommunication. With the goal wide open. Marco Gomez didn't communicate. Oh, and the Dominican Republic tried to take a corner as if it was their ball. It was off of the DR. It's a U.S. restart. 3:19 left. Moretti off, Gonzalez back on again. Mendez. Barado. Gonzalez! Side netting. Mendez again. Gonzalez. Gonzalez! Wasteful. Blasted out of play. And the DR holding on for dear life with 2:52 left. Oh, and a player down here for the U.S. Diego Barado. It's in some discomfort. Now having a word with the official. Well, this 6-2 walk in the park has turned into a barn burner down the stretch here. Felt like the Dominican Republic had the U.S. right where they wanted them. after the U.S. seemingly overcommitted and allowed a 6th goal to go in. However, their all-out attack is the reason that they're right back in it. It's going to go out. It's going to go back to the U.S. Moretti was there to cover. He's going to come off. On comes Luciano Gonzalez. Can the U.S. complete the comeback? Mendez, who has a hat trick. Ortiz. Gonzalez. Mendez lays it off. It's off the frame. Nearly for Nicolas Lopez. Rondon clears, but gives it right back to the U.S. Just over 2 minutes left. Barado. Gonzalez. Lopez. Oh, it nearly was given away. Barado gets it back. Oh, it's a vicious strike by Lopez. Just over the top. And the U.S. have 1:48 left. Well, he had 2 goals coming into this game. Nicolas Lopez was not quite able to hit the target. And the U.S. now maybe starting to peek up at the clock. The DR have 1:46 to seal a famous win. Gonzalez back on. Mendez. Oh, it was a turning attempt by Teu, blocked away. Stays with the DR. Oh, it's a game-saving block by Barato, and Moretti has to scramble to get back on. Oh, the DR went for the jugular. Just over a minute left. U.S. have to defend this. That was a chance to turn by Lopez. He was turned away. Can the DR see this out? Poor clearance gives it back to the U.S. U.S. is trying to get Gonzalez back on, but they have the DR defense to deal with. Under a minute left. Moretti's off. Gonzalez is on. One final roll of the dice for the U.S. Down by as many as 4. Gonzalez blocked. Lopez, he loses it. And the DR are gonna win it. It's a late counter strike. And it's a lucky number 7. From number 7, Hector Perez has sealed a famous win for the DR in this Concacaf Futsal Championship. It's 7-5 with 31 seconds to play. And it appears that the mountain was just too tall for the Americans. The Dominican Republic, the lowest ranked team in the group, potentially about to take down the United States. Barato, oh wait, maybe not. Maybe not. Touched in with 21 seconds left. Remarkably, it's 7-6. Nilton de Andrade may have just given the U.S. one last chance. Did we speak too soon? It's one back again. 14 seconds. Barato. Mendez. Oh, saved by Blanco. Final seconds, and it's out for one last chance. My goodness me. There's still 3.8 left. Barato is down holding his head. The U.S. have just enough time for one more prayer. Moretti is going to basically have to take a shot at it and hope it bounces the U.S.'s way. Moretti lets it fly. It's touched on target, but there's not going to be a shot. The Dominican Republic have done it. They shocked the U.S. with a 7-6 win. It's now a tie for second in the group, but it's a milestone achievement for the DR in this Concacaf Futsal Championship. The U.S. are knocked out, I should say knocked off, but could be, as the DR are able to knock off one of the tournament favorites here. And to say it was a thriller, to say it was a barn burner, would be an understatement. A frantic finish that saw the U.S. nearly come back from a 4-goal deficit. But a late sucker punch landed by Hector Perez is enough to see the DR go from bottom of the table up to second. And the U.S., after nearly clawing it all the way back, suffered defeat in the group stage against the Dominican Republic. Ranked 13th by CONCACAF before the tournament, they knock off the 4th ranked U.S. And we have time to go through the full-time highlights. It started with a Rondon score inside of the opening minutes of the match. This really set the tone in this game. The DR showing that they were up for it from the off. And they added a second moments later, tapped in by Jose Belliard to give them a 2-0 lead in the opening moments. The U.S. had a response. Sebastian Mendez, brilliant finish to cap off 3 goals in the opening 6 minutes. Then there was a bit of a lull after that, but then the DR got right back to work. They almost scored there. Great goal line clearance by Nicolas Lopez. And then there, Moretti making a big save towards the end of the first half, right before Pepen made it 3-1. And the DR seemingly took control from there. However, Luciano Gonzalez would have the final say of the first half. He had his shot denied there by Jose Perez, but then he scored with 5 seconds left in the half to make it 3-2 and to give the U.S. some late first period momentum. And at the start of the second half, the DR were the ones that really got off to the quick start. Couple of U.S. chances, but then this moment, Blanco's shot ricocheting around, touched home by Guillermo Lopez to give the DR a 4-2 lead and reestablishing their 2-goal cushion. The U.S. nearly hit back. Ortiz off the post, but then a lovely little dink over the top by Cestero to make it 5. And that really put the U.S. in a pickle. 5-2, but there was still a lot of time left. The U.S. then went all-out attack, and it immediately came back to bite them. It was a lovely finish here. The first of 2 from Hector Perez. That made it 6-2 to the DR. They were feeling good, but the U.S. had a response. Teyu to make it 6-3. Quick time finish. And the U.S. were far from done. They had more opportunities. Barato denied. Mendez scoring to make it 6-4. he would end up with a hat trick for the Americans. And what was an incredible finish. Here was his third, 6-5, if you could believe it. The U.S. getting it back to within one with still many minutes to go. But then Hector Perez, with no goalkeeper to attend, made it 7-5. That felt like the final word, but the U.S. had one last rally up their sleeves. The shot from Barado touched in by DeAndrade. That was with 20 seconds left. And the U.S. had a late opportunity, but it was turned away. And the Dominican Republic come away with a famous win. For our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. We say so long from Nicaragua. There's still plenty more action to come, but it's going to be tough to top this one. It finishes Dominican Republic 7, the U.S. 6.